Mountain Bear here, and then on the second charge of the harpoon gun, hoping that the new replacement dredge would be another beast. He goes K9 Otron though, so it looks like next turn he wants to go wide rather than tall. Yeah, can pull Peasant here. He saw that from the dredge. Yeah, the fact that he saw K9 Otron dredging that could also then allow the K9 to dredge a 1-drop probably tilted his decision more to K9 instead of Mountain Bear. But on the second charge, definitely going to be Mountain Bear. We saw Grizian prioritizing playing the harpoon gun as well, getting both charges done before a staggered can come out to make sure that he's not disrupted by the freeze to face.
Right, and Fury Hunter just playing for that eventual board, but of course Soy Breezing popping down that bear for the taunt might make it a bit difficult for Fury Hunter to get rid of. Oh.
The worst thing for Fury is that the bear is protecting the peasant. Fury just cannot get through to it at the moment. Really wants to find Fungalmancer Flurgle or something like that. Sorry, Firemancer Flurgle to deal with these piddly minions. But right now, even just taking an elemental to stop the bleeding.
Yeah, Tar Creeper now.
The breakpoints on Command of Neptulon are just not nice here. Okay, Maelstrom Portal from School Teacher. You can play the Nagaling right now and kill off the Peasant. It's not bad. Lightning Storm, though, deals with 3 minions, so that's probably the pick. He'll overload for 2 next turn, but I think it's worth it.
Pick me! Pick me!
And of course he does the Lightning Storm. Peasant. And does he want to pop the taunt and then have the death rattle activate?
Yeah, that's the question. I actually don't know if it's worth it. Because by popping the death rattle, it's kind of like you're giving the 2/2 charge, so Fury Hunter says no.
Not today.
No.
Now he has to deal with it, probably.
And it's not too difficult. If he wants to take double trades, it's fine. With the 4/3 and the 2/3, he can kill off one of the 2/4s that spawn. And probably most importantly, play down 2 minions this turn, Tar Creeper and Cookie. Or Wind Chill guy, Cookie and an actual Wind Chill. And then have a super wide board for Bloodlust next turn. Ah, I see. It just takes 1 trade, meaning he has the maximum amount of minions for Bloodlust next turn and also freezing the bear. I think that's very smart. Praying for, what is this, no King Crush? Something like that? No second Mountain Bear?
Let none survive.
Not much Grizian can do here. Oh, he's gonna kill off his own bear so he can revive Pettit. Okay.
Alright.
Yeah, it's a safe play. Makes a lot of sense.
Just to stay off that bleeding and everything. Using Doggy.
He landed the good rush as well, 1 in 3. The one that lets him kill off the Tar Creeper. But this is still an excellent Bloodlust for Fury Hunter, I'd have to imagine.
Fury Hunter is calculating whether or not it is worth it.
It could get better next turn is the thing. He can play Command of Neptulon this turn, take a few more favorable trades, play the Sleep Breaker and save the Bloodlust for lethal. Yeah, I don't think he has much to be afraid of if he goes for that line because he's not dead to King Crush. That's the full board here.
Here comes bears. Might have to contend with another pesky bear if Soy opts to do that for his turn 7.
true, but this one can't stop the bloodlust. Not anymore.
Oh.
Not enough. Okay.
Oh.
That's just a regular saber. Yeah. Fury takes it. Bloodlust for immense lethal.
And Soy knows.
Yeah.
Having to bow out of that.
Right, the bloodlust wasn't even necessary in the end there. Fury popping off. It's just nice to see that even for a player of his caliber, of a player that's gotten as many achievements as Fury, it feels like every last game still matters so much to him. And it's because he is so hungry to get through to the World Championship. Every point earned in these first initial weeks of Grandmaster's Last Call means a better shot at making it to playoffs, and a better shot at playoffs means a better shot at Worlds.
We can see him celebrating with that win there. A 3-2 going to 5 games. He had great control of the board in the mid game, and just without even the bloodlust, Sloy knew that it was over. Having all those taunts did not help in the end, with those rush minions breaking through it, and again having that strong board presence allowed Fairy Hunter to clear away those taunts and go face, continuing to pepper Sloy with damage.
That is right. The damage adds up very quickly as Shaman and the freezing effects really made sure that Fury Hunter didn't take too much damage there in the early game. So now that means Fury is through to Sunday, already secures himself 2 points minimum, joining the other 4 players who have qualified themselves through as of yesterday. But here in Group C, there is still one victory win cash. But before all of that, right, he's just waiting for card draw effects at the moment.
Yeah, that's right. Just having Okishinsuke like consistently, slowly but surely gaining armor might be helpful into the long game if Rogue doesn't draw into the cards needed. Okay, and he pops down the Mistress of Mixtures for the board presence, and if the bombs start rolling, Mistress of Mixtures can potentially attack into an enemy minion and heal up some much needed help.
Mailbox answer is also just an incredible draw for Okashinsuke. If it were any later than this turn, it doesn't actually speed up the turn at which Prester comes down. But because it was drawn specifically on turn 3, it means now that turn 4, Coin Innervate Prester is available, and Okashinsuke can go straight away to Dragonland. Meanwhile, for Chonsu, no naval mine, no sketchy information, no smoke screen. Very bad times, indeed.
Oh no.
Presto! Now, come on, Okashinsuke. I rolled my R. Go for it.
Okay, going for that Prester one. The ramp up to it on his turn 4. Meanwhile, Chensu now has to deal with these dragons, while hopefully drawing into the cards he need.
Okay, Sketchy's a start, right? So he can kill off the Mistress with his dagger. Now he can also Snowfall prep Sketchy and deal 8 damage with the mine. That means the counterfeit blade is also going to deal 8 on its death rattle. But Chonsu doesn't actually choose to play Sketchy immediately. Alright. Wow, that's a pretty good dragon to start off with. And for Okashinsuke, I honestly think he should play Starfish first, and then the Onyxia. Oh wait, sorry. Onyxia and then Starfish. Is that better than Starfish than Onyxia? Because you would get an 8-8, but you don't get all the 1-1s in that instance. Alright, he's just gonna hold off on Starfish altogether, and if Chonsu clears any minion, then Okashinsuke can then Starfish and immediately have an attacking 8 attack Onyxia. Probably better. 14 damage on board. Yikes.
So much.
Chonsu is in big trouble. I think all he can do is prep Sketchy and play the counterfeit blade, swing face, and hope that he gets the other Evil Mine on the next turn. It's not even enough damage, I don't know.
Oh. Well, some mines are going down. Though, by not hitting any of the minions or playing one himself, he does lock Okin Shinsuke aboard, not allowing him to play the Starfish for silence.
Thing is, I don't think Chonsu has one individual top deck that's good enough to win the game right now. Because swinging face, he'll deal 12 total. Playing Naval Mine and killing it with 2, he'll deal 20. And then 2 Wicked Stabs face, it's 28. It's a little bit short.
Yeah, I mean, that armor gain at the start really played in Okishinusuke's favor as well.
Wait, hold on. Sketchy, he deals 8 with that. Swing face, you deal 12, 20. You go Naval Mine and Tooth, 28. And then Coin Wicked Stab face. I think it's lethal.
I know. Oh,
Because he has double coin. Wait, that's nuts! Sketchy was the draw. I think oh, sorry, he even has Shatter Chandler. I forgot, doesn't even need to tooth his own minion here. Crazy stuff.
turnaround. And there you have it, a fairly short game going out.
For Flurgle, so it's gonna work out pretty nicely for Chonsu.
Yeah. And we have some Murloc synergy coming right up here. There is another option as well with the Frostbite, but of course, just doing some face damage works just as well.
Chonsu has like a bit of a dilemma as to whether this is freezing or explosive, because if he thinks it's freezing, it's better to play the South Coast Chieftain first and then attack. If he thinks it's explosive, it's better to attack with the Flurgle first. He gets the right read here, and I think this is a good read because you generally wouldn't play explosive into a single Firemancer Flurgle, so Chonsu makes sure that he gets the extra 3 damage by actually playing the Chieftain first.
Yeah, and now Okishinusuke opting for the explosive trap that we were talking about, perhaps against the insurance. Oh, nope, never mind. I was gonna say if Chonsu started playing Murlocs galore, then it would work out, but of course he tests that explosive trap out and gets rewarded by now having a board for Hunter to deal with.
Which Okashinsky can take advantage of. At least half of the board removed with a piercing shot. If he wants quick shot freezing trap, that's also a decent option to make sure he actually takes 0 damage. I was looking at piercing, honestly. Oh, sorry, this is the one that makes his hero power just work as well. Yeah, that's better than freezing. Okay, Chonsu responding with Wild Paw, hitting a very solid curve, even with the command of Neptulon to follow up. This is pretty much the best Chonsu can hope for, but Okashinusuke is still staying toe-to-toe with it. Picks up Arcane Shot, which is actually very good in this spot because it is another spell school for the multicaster. If Okashinusuke wants, he can draw 3 off of multicaster right now, or he can go Arcane Shot, Hero Power to clear the staggered, play Freezing Trap, and then draw 3 when multicaster next turn.
Magic?
Just for now, though.
I've heard of it.
Just getting some more feel for his hand. Hopefully they're cursing me.
Not amazing options. The only damage spell is very expensive here for Okashinusuke. He ideally wants cheaper ones so he can get that hero power to cost 0.
And now he has to contend with this board, going face for some bleeding.
Yeah, I think just piercing shot, freezing trap, and then the hero power goes down to 0, so he can he can pierce the can hero power the 5-1. And then play freezing trap to put 1 staggered back into hand for Chonsu. Going ice trap instead of freezing. Okay.
Right.
This stops a potential second command of Neptulon. Chonsu now knows it's 100% ice trap. Because of that, maybe just playing the Flurgle and Gorlock Ravager. Oh, actually, I don't know how many auras are left on the clownfish.
Some warm soup.
Guess we'll find out.
Yeah, just... Will he draw some Murlocs?
I see. So that was the last charge of clownfish, so everything goes more expensive. But he can still play Amalgam. Looks pretty good. Fill the board every turn. Get that incremental damage. Try the Bloodlust. Old Lights here.
Only? Oh. The board flooding.
That's interesting to me because I felt like the Cold Light helps maybe make his board a bit more resilient, and if not that, then taking Finley makes sense to be the cheapest possible Murloc to proc your Firemaster Flurgle later on. Alright, so really rough for Oka Shinsuke now that he doesn't have Explosive Trap, also doesn't have a Naga to proc the barbed nets with. He can get his Tavish in hand if he wants.
Yep, and since Chonsu knows that the secret is not explosive, he can just attack into face without much he can just attack into his opponent without much consequence. And yeah, time moves quickly. He has Oka Shinsuke has to decide now in terms of what to do. Will he take down a minion just to mitigate a little bit of bleeding, or play spell? And
Yeah, he definitely has to clear. I honestly didn't think he would go Barracuda Vein this turn. I was looking at aimed shot on the 4-3, and then you use Barb Net to get the Tavish in hand. And you can also hero power for 0 into a 3-4 and play freezing trap. But maybe Oka Shinsuke was scared of Mutinous to eat his Tavish in that case. The Barracuda Bean also makes it so that he has more resources for the long run, but he will be taking a lot of damage.
So many choices.
so many choices, so many options, many cute Murlocs. Hey, the clownfish.
Yeah, Chonsu will be concerned about Tavish happening the next turn, so the general response to playing into your opponent's quest reward turn is to be put as much pressure on board as possible. And with Okani, he's also disrupting the potential Tavish. I assume he picks minion here.
Yeah, a great move is to deny Shinsuke the quest reward.
Still no explosive. Is there a good enough shell shot outcome that keeps him alive here? Good question. The thing is, he can't both stay alive and play around Mutinous on his Tavish. He was very cognizant of it last turn because he did see a Gorlock Ravager, so it was high odds of there being a Mutinous, but the situation has just gotten worse now, even more pressure, and he will have to play damage spells to stay alive. So the quest reward has a 50-50 of being chopped next turn. Unless he plays it right here. Isn't he just dead if he plays it here? Oh, he can't play it because there's a minion block on Akani.
Yeah.
Like,
In a very awkward position now. All I can do is clear the minions.
okay, best shell shot ever if everything hits the Okani. Maybe? Okay, gonna go bunker instead, fair enough. But now Chonsu gets the 50-50 shot at munching the quest reward. Oh, misses. Okay.
This is alright.
Oh no, Chonsu! Leaning back very aggressively, but immediately leaning forward again. Not the end of the world. He still has a 7-8 and is ahead on board. Okashinsuke is not healthy here. Probably just like Cookie for Chonsu. Trade away the Barracuda Bane, go face with the... Okay, not even trading. He thinks the Mutinous is safe as it is, fair enough. Now the problem for Okashinsuke is this Okani still needs to go before Tavish gets played. So he needs to get a pretty lucky shell shot here. At least one hit on the Okani.
Yeah, that 6 health on it. Oh, really locking out his Tavish in the last couple of turns. Oh no!
Wait a second. This unlocks an alternate play now, right? Because he can set up a decent explosive trap. Just don't Tavish this turn, right?
Okay, discover what's in the box.
Harpoon gun. I'm down for that. Because if you play Harpoon gun, you can actually kill the Okani this turn.
And
Want to. But if he goes explosive, trade the 3-2 into Okani, ping the Mutinous. It's almost... it's a dead Okani next turn anyway if Chonsu attacks. Because then Okashinsuke can ping the remaining 1 health on Akani. The question is, does Chonsu attack? I'm inclined to say no. Because if he does, the Tavish just comes on board for free, right?
If only I had
I
some
think he
walls.
actually freezes his own board here. Like, Schooling, Rana, and Snowfall Guardian? Not quite a lethal setup if you assume everything else on your board is going to
Only I
die,
had
that's the
some
problem.
warm soup.
but if healing minions with totem? Oh. Let's see.
Schooling gets blocked by Ice Trap, but at least it means the Ice Trap's out of the way, so then he can Frostbite next turn. So if you Hero Power and play Snowfall with the rest of your mana, then you have an 8-8 Snowfall. And then you have potentially the Cookie Ladle next turn. And Frostbite, which is not 16, so it's not actually a lethal setup. So Chonsu is going to delay a little bit here.
And delay and just continuing to have the board with that spell deck over the next few turns.
So Kraken Bane to proc the Okani. And then he can go Tavish, Hero Power, Ice Trap, Hero Power, Furious Howl next turn. It's good as long as he puts the Hero Powers on like the 3-4 and a 2-3. All good. Still safe to Explosive Trap.
Yep, and I wanna play a card for.
I think it's Ice Trap instead of Furious here. There's a shot that he gets 2 draws out of each Furious, or 2 out of the left one and then 3 out of the right one. But it does mean he's less mana efficient for next turn. It's really close. just gonna take the one draw now. Damage is starting to add up for Okashinsuke.
Yeah, it is. But now Okina might have to take down that Tavish with his minions because he knows his explosive trap, and if he attacks into it, all that damage is gonna be gone.
Right. Can certainly kill off the Tavish first. I still think he needs to find some Snowfall Guardian way to win this game. Because everything else is going to be at a low enough health total to die to Explosive Trap, and if Chonsu plays something a little bit bigger, it can just be pinged by Okashinsuke. But if it's a huge snowfall, either it forces Okashinsuke to sink a lot of damage into it, or Chonsu can threaten a counter lethal.
Yeah, especially with like Chonsu's board right now, having the Snowfall Guardian out, and creating that big minion to threaten lethal would be a turner for Chonsu.
Trades 2 minions, and then I think he goes Clownfish Snowfall here. So what this does is you set up a big minion, you also preload that mana discount from the Clownfish so that if Okashinsuke does clear some of this board, you can then go Flurgle, Gorlock, Ravager, and one more Murloc, and potentially also play Frostbite on the same turn, which is a lot of reach, assuming the 8-8 gets to go face. So now Okashinsuke needs to respond in such a way that he respects the 8-8, which is actually doable with the piercing shot. Unless he has lethal and I'm not seeing it. Hold on. 2, 4, 6... 7, 13... I don't think it's lethal this turn. So, in that case...
He has to basically receive the Snowball Guardian.
I think what you can do is piercing shot the 2-1 just to get maximum damage, and then double ping the Snowfall so it's still dead to explosive, but he's actually fully killing the Snowfall. Okay.
Alright.
As long as he gets the full 3 draws from Furious Howl, this is still very doable. Yeah. I don't think this was the... Yeah, he is weaving Hero Powers, yeah. But I really don't think this was the cleanest turn from Okashinsuke, right? He could have left the Snowfall at 2 health instead of killing it. And I don't think there's a punish for that, right?
Yeah, it means the explosive there.
Yeah, could have gotten an extra 2 damage face. But the spirit of the turn is still intact, right? He still makes sure Chonsu can't get any damage from this board. Chonsu has picked up Brilliant Macaw though, and I do believe Snowfall was the last battle cry played, so he can essentially make another Snowfall here in the form of Macaw. And he has to. Okashinsuke has no spells in hand. This is potentially disastrous for him, but the Finley gives him a couple rerolls at worst. Frostbite
Way
face.
to do some damage to face.
Oh, multicaster. Nuts draw for Okashinsuke. Really, really strong. I think he has played 4 spell schools here, so that's gonna draw 4 cards. Arcane, Nature, Frost, and Fire.
Yeah, hopefully he can draw into some answers against not necessarily this board because of his explosive trap, but against that 9 and 9.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Had a 4 natural. Well, I guess he did. Did he dredge at some point? Did he know what was the? If he knew exactly what was at the bottom, then sure, this is probably. Then he could have found a way to guaranteed lethal. Oh, Dragonbane shot is too expensive now. Oh my gosh, but can't play explosive because he has one in play already. But it's fine. Just needs to aim shot the parrot, hero power face, and that's a clean setup. Onsu permanently locked out by explosive trap.
I cannot even play another minion for that battle cry at all.
He can trade Cookie into Finley so he gets 2 lifesteal, trade a 2-1 into Finley so he has a board space, and then play Macaw again and just pray he's not dead from 9. But that's not a very high likelihood, I think. Oh my goodness.
The gears are turning. Ah.
I was just trying to figure out if it was worth it for Oka Shinsuke to go Finley instead of the multicaster, even if he knew exactly what were the bottom cards in his deck. Well. Oka Shinsuke still doesn't have lethal. He has 8 damage face. And in order to... Oh wait, sorry, never mind, my mind. Yeah, it's lethal. The Dragon made honorable kill. I just forgot about that part of the card.
They're just consistently weaving in that hero power and locking Chansu out of that out of the attack on base just because of that explosive trap. And of course, Chansu knows and bows out. And Oka Shinsuke ties the score 1-1. Oh, okay. Yeah, so as a recap, we see Chansu creating a board full of Murlocs, hoping to get that board advantage, potentially having Bloodlust in the end to take down the Hunter. But of course, Oka Shinsuke plays his secrets in order to kind of block the board out of Chansu. Snowguard Guardian and the Macaw, using Battle Cry to gain stats. Alright, so next up we have Oka Shinsuke and the Boar Priest. We have the Switcheroo, Amulet of Undying, the Cleric for some card draw, and Boars themselves, of course. Hopefully he can get all those death battles in play before he completes before he gets the weapon, just to hit face with that massive weapon from Priest.
Oh, sorry about that. Internet just died for a little bit. It's typhoon season in the Philippines. Internet can get a bit finicky. But yeah.
Welcome back.
Thank you. You're absolutely right in saying that it is all about that Boar Priest now for Oka Shinsuke. Chansu's actually moving on away from the Shaman, which makes sense. That is the struggle of his lineup. And Chansu's gonna go to the big Spell Mage instead here. Our favorites. How many boxes can we open in total today?
Hopefully many, but perhaps in Chansu's favor this time. We did not have a lot of great boxes the last time we saw a big Spell Mage.
Melodies are endless.
Alright, we have like 2 boars on Oka Shinsuke's opening hand. Meanwhile, Chansu does have the Amplified Snow Fury for that for his turn 2 potentially, but of course he takes that away. Okay, Shinsuke is still deciding whether or not to keep the cards he has. The... Okay. Okay, Shinsuke ups to basically get rid of his entire hand. He has the Northshire Cleric there, potentially just to draw out his combo a bit more. On his turn 1, what will he do? Deciding. Meanwhile, the hand for Chunsu does not look super great. He has a lot of high-cost minions, with the exception of the Treasure Guard. Okay, Shinsuke having the option of the Naru spell plus Pyromancer here, but of course time is of the essence. He needs to make a choice very quickly in order to make the most out of his first turn.
I hope they're better now. I am so sorry.
Right, Chansu, again having a heavy hand with high cost minions. You could ping face.
Yes, he could. Question is, like, is it even worth it to allow Okashinsuke to start getting damage so eventually he gets healing draw from the gift of the Naru? Probably inconsequential in the grand scheme of things, because Chonsu's main game plan here is not so much about getting incremental damage over the long run. It's trying to disrupt Okashinsuke by swapping the cost of one of his super cheap spells with one of Chonsu's expensive ones. And half of that game plan is already there from the Barbaric Sorceress, right? But until Chonsu finds Rune of the Archmage or the Drakefire Amulet, he's gonna have to stall.
The stalling until the late game for both classes are interesting, while Okashinsuke has the time to draw into his combo. Okashinsuke, of course, has that time to play his different spells and really leverage the Dawn Grabs and his runes. Yeah, he just plays Treasure Guard Taunt on Kerr.
As for Okashinsuke, really lacking card draw with this hand. Like, he has Cleric Gift, but no Pyro to really start popping off with. So I think he's kind of forced to play Illuminate here. Doesn't feel great when you don't already have Handmaiden, but it's a chance to find Switcher. It's a chance to find Handmaiden herself. I don't know how much longer you can afford to wait. Like, he's taking a very calculated look at the deck list first, figuring out exactly how much time he has. And generally, you just want to get your card draw done before, or at least the majority of your card draw through before Mage puts down their big threats, which happens on 6 mana. So Shinsuke is on a clock here.
Yeah, I could see his thinking face, pondering. Oh.
Is someone injured?
Okay. He opts for the Cleric. Heal on himself. Unfortunately, it's not a heal on any minion, so he cannot draw a card.
Right.
And now... Oh, Starfish.
Yeah, Okashinsuke, I think he was looking at the deck list to see if there's any way to actually kill a Cleric. Is there 2 damage from hand or 1 damage from hand for Chonsu anywhere? And the answer was actually no, because he doesn't run Ram Commander. But he does have the Silence, which will deny Okashinsuke that precious card draw. So I think even though Chonsu loses card draw himself from the Death Rattle of Treasure Guard, he still comes out the winner of this exchange.
Right. As of that silence and unable to draw much with the Cleric into the 1/5, Okashinsuke has to think about whether to perhaps drop another Cleric or play other cards like the Illuminate for some
Yeah.
hard draw.
He's been very stingy about using Illuminate. Doesn't feel confident, I guess, that the dredge options would be good for him, but unable to wait any longer. We're gonna see. There's Pyro, insta-pick here. And that's a huge relief for Okashinsuke because finally he can get a decent amount of card draw next turn with Pyro Cleric Gift. Very clever, actually, this trade from Okashinsuke. I don't think it's to really put damage on anything, but it's to make the spammy Arcanist breakpoints worse, because we saw there was like 2 health and 4 health there. If Okashinsuke had left his Cleric at 3 health, I believe Chonsu could have gotten a full clear on the board with the spammy, clearing his own minions as well, which makes Okashinsuke's Pyro Cleric gift turn a lot weaker.
Yeah, that's true. And now Okashinsuke can get all these card draws with the help of the coin, and of course, Gift of Naru. What are the options? He draws in his switcheroo, Holy Fire,
Convert
on
these.
Pyro.
Converting the flash heals into new cards as well, and if he wants to, can end the turn with the Valish and also play Switcheroo. I think it's probably worth it here.
Yeah, that mana refresh might help him go deeper in his deck.
Quickly.
Oh, will he? Won't he?
I think he will. When is he gonna get 4 spells played in a turn again? Not for quite some time, I don't think, but Okashinsuke is hesitating a little bit. Okay,
Right?
in the end, going for the prayer to clear the board and also be stronger against barbaric sorcerers. I guess that's the big thinking behind not necessarily playing the Valish. Then again, if you want to be stronger against sorcerers, I feel like it's better to have the switcheroo played out of your hand before it can be made expensive.
How perplexing. I'm 7 moves ahead of you.
Minion counter? Most likely. Oh, spell.
Spell counter.
I guess because there's a pyro on board and he just doesn't want the Okani to die so easily.
Counter spell occurred.
So switcheroo can be played here, and even if Valish only refreshes 1 mana, it's decent to make sure Handmaiden can also happen this turn. Kushinsuke, bit of a mistake in not being able to attack with the pyro, but it's not a huge deal. And didn't play Valish and has no cheap spells in hand anymore. I really don't know if he was supposed to hold on to it for this long.
Do you take me for an ordinary mage?
Hey, Belinda, that discount.
Yeah, it's a huge deal that Okashinsuke's used both prayers, both flash heals, I think. So it's actually really hard for him to activate Zyrella to a relevant AoE total at this point. It's both the amulets and can trade away whichever ones still need buffing. Okay. 2 charges with that one, and this one also goes up to 2 charges, so he still has to trade 1 more amulet later on. Full one with the Thrive. If he wants, he can just silence to remove some stats on Belinda, but I don't know if that's good enough because there's also gonna be dragons next turn.
Yeah. Will that mana refresh help? But it looks like he is... well, he's been holding on to it for a while now.
It only refreshes 2 here, right? Ooh, barbaric. But these spells are already cheapened, so maybe that's not the line for Chonsu.
Thought about it, but there might be another more optimal play here.
Yeah, if there were... like, if Chonsu had seen both amulets traded back into the deck, could be reasonably confident that the barbaric would swap one of his big spells to a cost that's still playable this turn, but because there's a chance that it goes to 3 instead of 2, if he plays barbaric there, he might not be able to play that same spell well. So goes for just the spell this turn, and you know, that's still a pretty good outcome. Huge dragons and no good way for Okashinsuke to play Zyrella for AoE. I think Chonsu is in a great spot here.
Yeah, looks like it, and now he is for his Snow Fury, Amplified Snow Fury to freeze that, denying of any extra damage.
Chonsu not gonna bother with the attack either, in case there is still some other form of healing. Mainly, I think Gift of the Naru is the only relevant one left. Oh yeah, Okashinsuke is facing down a lethal setup on board. If he doesn't kill at least 2 of the minions, he's just dead.
Going into his deck for some spells. Is it enough? Oh, okay.
So if he takes Amulet, trades it, goes Pyro, first Amulet, a Leash. Oh god, I don't think he has enough mana. Refresh is just not there, so he takes Holy Smite to kill Belinda at least. Pyro. Oh, there's a Desperate Prayer. That's my bad. I thought that had already been used, so it's actually super relevant that Chonsu did not attack phase this turn. Okay. Shinsuke finds a clear on Belinda. He's alive on board, but probably dead to Rune. And Chonsu can always play Rune here even after Barbaric Sorceress.
I bring the muscle and the magic.
He just needs to deal 3 to face. Amy, that's not asking a lot out of a box. How confident are you?
I believe in the power of the box, but I don't know, that 3-6.
Nah, it's always
Oh,
lethal.
he is.
It's always lethal.
Going for the blocks.
Holy Jelly,
Ooh.
decent start.
Okay.
11 mana to deal 3 damage. Okay, 9 mana to deal 1 damage. Box. 8 mana left. 7 mana left. This is excruciating. 2 mana left. Still 2 mana left. 1 mana left. And that is not lethal. What? This is effectively lethal, right? Wait.
Oh,
Kashinsuke goes... God, I don't even know if he's traded enough of the amulets, but he can't just get sword this turn, can he? He has to heal as well.
yeah, I can see that he is trying to calculate any way to survive this turn. We have some big dragons on the board. Just taunt. The 2-2 attacks as well. Alright, Pyromancer. Or the...
Okay. Looks like the amulets are done. Okay. So that's sword this turn. So he can just go Desperate Prayer here to stay alive. And then, because of the Valish, he fits in the Zarella as well and can get one swing to face, and the next turn the other swing to face. And there is nothing Chonsu can do about it.
Oh, he just needed that one damage. But Okina Shinsuke finding a way out and being able to get that weapon, swing hit face, and just defeat Chonsu.
Yeah, huge difference maker. I was ragging on Okashinsuke saving the Valish for that long, and I honestly still don't know if it was better to, use it for card draw sooner or save it all the way for the Zarella turn, but it worked out for Okashinsuke there. It's pretty fair to say that he got through just by the skin of his teeth. That box missing out on 3 damage was very, very rough for Chonsu. The boxes have just not been kind to him today, but he still has a couple more chances on the big spell mage if he wants to queue that up. Alternatively, he could go and play one of his other decks instead.
Can't wait to see if the score ties up or if we're going into another game 5.
Chonsu went 0-3 versus Gruzin on his mage. Very unfortunate. He's having to take another loss against Okashinsuke here on that very same deck. I'm sure it's starting to feel like a curse for Chonsu, but if he wants to make it through the day, he has to take a win with it at some point. There's also the Shaman that is left for him, and he has to beat this Prestor Druid from Okashinsuke, which both the decks have a very decent shot of taking down, but it's very much up to the whimsy of the dragon still.
Yeah, that's true. Both players playing with a bit of some unpredictability here with the dragons versus, oh gosh, the box. Like, what's going to be inside it? What are the dragons? It's always an exciting matchup to see.
Esther hasn't been particularly kind to Okashinsuke either today. It feels like he's taken a loss with it versus Fury Hunter. He did lose with it earlier on to Chonsu as well. We'll see if he finally got some of the more high impact ones going, but we do see Chonsu sticking to the mage here, doesn't want to try with Shaman. Has Barbaric Sorceress, but chooses not to keep it. Interesting. And boy oh boy will he be happy about that Finley in the opening hand, because the rest of this hand really looks like it needs a reroll.
Yeah, with all that high mana cost spells and minions.
Even if he shuffles the coin to the bottom of the deck, I think it's okay. Pair of Reckless. Oh, actually all just the 4 drops in his deck. Interesting.
Okay, hopefully he top stacks a move for turn 2 and something for 3.
Shinsuke has pretty decent curve option of Claw Fury Adept here to value trade down the Finley. It means the Mistress will still be within ping range next turn, but that's okay. I don't think he's in any rush to play Cold Tooth Mine just yet. I told her it's okay.
Oof. All these 4 drops, Gia.
Yeah. Not looking good. Shinsuke if he plays Cold Tooth Might and gets Prestor this turn, he allows himself the very small chance of playing Prestor next turn if he top decks Innervate on turn 4. But because that's unlikely, I think it's fine for him to just go Druid of the Reef plus Claw Fury Adept here. Reef for taunt, and then the buffed Mistress can trade into the Finley. Then he can push 3 face.
That's super viable. Few things to work with here, though. Again, time is ticking for Kushinsuke to make that final call.
Okay, goes with the Volvir trade instead, adding a little bit more board pressure, which is fine, because if Chonsu just is turn 3 pinging the Mistress, I feel like Okashinsuke is pretty happy with that outcome. He can
Sea floor be its own treasure. The other thing mine is mine.
Oh, we've seen this so many times. Decent on board, but it's nothing that Chonsu can't clear in the next coming turns. And it means that once again, Okashinsuke has to rely on the top decks being very good dragons. Alagos versus Nosdormu is worlds apart of difference.
Yeah, and Jansu, of course, playing the Okana there. Oh, but did he pick the denial spell?
I thought minion, but I mean, in any case, that's the perfect top deck for Okashinsuke because he didn't have a way to kill the Okani here. Crazy. Nervates, then he'll see if it's spell or minion denied. Yep.
Oh, it's minion.
Expect it.
Yep. Will he spell?
Yeah, that's actually a close call because ramping with the hero power this turn, pretty good. Lets him go press start and then immediately draw after. If you go composting now, the thing is, it's like you are gonna draw cards, but if Chonsu kills those minions straight away the turn after, then you're drawing non-dragon still, which doesn't have too much value.
That's true. Putting up a
I still think he goes composting. I was gonna say, because just for the chance that he draws spells, but he disagrees. I was also thinking it's not the highest odds that Chonsu could kill all 3 minions on that upcoming turn, so maybe like say the Tolvir dies and then Okashinsuke draws 1 non-dragon, but the other 2 death rattles are post-Prestor. But goes ramp instead to be safe here, and now Chonsu is going for the Dawn Grasp, which is honestly very low impact here. It feels bad to have to use that on so few minions before the dragons are even active. Prestor composting looks fine here. Oh wow.
What is it?
Going ramp instead. Oh yeah, my bad. I forgot the Okani aura was still intact. Of course he needs to go for the peasant to remove it.
I bring the muscle and the magic.
oof.
Chonsu a little bit shocked he hit there, but that's a big deal. No, dragon has to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my god, Malago. Oh.
Any answers in Chonsu's deck?
Coin. That's the best one here. Not kidding. I don't want to play Dawn Grasp when I'm Guff. Water Evoker is so slow.
Any spells, hopefully?
Yeah, he can get the other composting here. Probably start with Aquatic Form, look for some more minions so you can get even more value from your composting. Operative again, or Primordial blows up his own board here. Don't know if I like that. But...
That rope's burning again.
Or Sleepy Dragon, it's cheap.
Will he compost and then primordial? Okay,
Okay. This was a weird turn. I don't know if I like the primordial pick, but he still ends up ahead on board, which is the important part here. He now can go for his 2-mana rune. Good. Card has not been kind to him today, but hopefully this time.
one day it would be good. Might be right now.
Okay, full clear now. Explosive runes, okay. Good, good. No card draw, but it did its job, and it gave him a secret. I would say much better than the other Chonsu runes we've been seeing today.
Yeah, secret plus armor, the board clear. Not bad, even a ice bomb being in on the board.
Job done.
Dragon discovery later on.
Casting counterspell, sees that it's not that. Moonlit, look for Hala if it's there. It's not there, but there's Ysera. Problem with Moonlit Ysera is that you oftentimes overdraw the actual Ysera unless you can make 6 spaces in your hand, which is actually doable for Oka Shinsuke here.
Oh, but now he has dragons galore. All the options now goes with the spell, Ysera with the great cards. Break again.
It seems you need another
Your mother, coin, Ysera. Okay, he's not coining, so he's just fine with overdrawing the natural Ysera in the deck. I don't think he's fine with that. I think that's a bit of a mess up. But not the end of the world. Ramp, play Drake and Sister. I'm gonna give that turn a solid 5 out of 10. He did what he needed to.
Yep, and
Wait, composting? What? He's at 8 cards in hand. Why? I don't get it. Okay, I'm gonna bump that down to a 4 out of 10. This turn was messy. So Chonsu has a clear. If he trades 3-2 into 7-6 and just plays spammy, can play Treasure Guard after that, and it seems decent.
yeah, and with the clear he can destroy one of Oka Shinsuke's cards.
Yeah, I think Oka Shinsuke got in a weird mental space where he said, oh no, if I play too many minions and it gets cleared, I don't have minions to play composting on, but I don't think that should be the primary concern. He draws so many dragons still just with the hero power that he can probably get good composting value in the long run. Thankfully for him, his overdraws are not too important. It's not a Kazakhstan. He kept the raid boss in Nixia, but it's been pretty sloppy so far. Be very careful, because if all the rest of the dragons in the deck are low value, if he doesn't hit another Ysera, if he doesn't hit Kazakhstan, there is a real chance he could lose to fatigue here versus Chonsu.
Yeah, he only has 11 cards left versus Chonsu's 17. He needs to push some damage, get some good dragons. What does he draw? Okay.
Bad.
Неплохо сыграно.
Okay, take lowest cost at this point. Or not.
Rope's burning again.
After you've drawn After you've drawn Prestor and Guff, I don't generally see the reasoning for taking highest cost on your Cold Tooth Mine. Because everything's just random dragons anyway, so why not just take a dragon that is cheaper? But I guess Okashinsuke has mana to spare anyway. Okay, Barbara swapping. Problem for Chonsu is he knows the 9 cost card is still in hand, so there's a chance that the amulet goes to 9. But it goes to 0! Oh, okay! How it goes. And Deathwing. It hits. It hits. How is this hesitation?
No, maybe fuel for your Sarah?
What?
Oh, wait. Oops.
Wait, I'm confused. What's the reason? It's the same. It's less attack, but it's still 12 HP. I am so confused.
Is he playing the long game? Oh.
Во имя природы.
Okay, my brain melted, confirmed. He took Ysera to play around Dream. Makes sense. As if the Deathwing got Dream back into his hand, he would not want to play that. Can't really afford to discard Belinda at this point.
Find yourself to leave the thinking.
Okashinsuke is still getting there with value. Second Ysera, actually third one, if we count the fact that he overdrew one from Moonlit.
Yeah.
We need every last bit of value, but for Chonsu here, the fact that the Dawn Grasp, the hero card, has been so late in the deck is really detrimental to him here because every turn he has to contend with just using regular pings instead of the scaling ping means that he himself has to worry about fatigue in the long run.
Самола Трока.
Yeah, and right now he, Chonsu at least, is thinking about casting the rune, hopefully, just to get rid of those taunts, push some damage, get some card draw.
All spells, no big disaster yet. I'm always just expecting disaster when I see Chonsu play Rune. Not by any fault of his own, he's just supremely unlucky with this card, but... Okay, this is a good rune so far though. Very, very good.
That's
And
not bad.
Yeah. He can even afford to play Drakefire still this turn because of the hot streak. That's crazy. Oh, Hala. Great outcome. Did he fit in the second flame? Yup, that's the full turn from Chonsu. Huge swing. Problem for him is that Okashinsuke can go Ysera Awakens twice this turn. Just needs to make some hand space for it. Very, very doable. Yeah, not only is it Ysera Awakens twice, it's ending the turn with Raid Boss Onyxia or Brasswing. He right now knows that the secret is not counterspell. Still hasn't tested for runes, but if you start with Ysera, it's not a big deal if it's runes, right? Because she still gets her battle cry.
Yeah, just getting all those value cards in hand. The Dragon, Laughing Sister, the Awakens happening, just to help a bit with that board clear.
Yeah, Raid Boss Onyxia looks pretty clean here.
That rope's burning again.
Even can still kill the Oasis ally. And if he wants, dream back the Ysera on the other side, but probably not worth. He dreams the 3-6 instead. I like this.
Okay. Just denying Shinsuke. There's a value there.
We got the ramp and Emerald Drake in. They didn't have time for the ramp, but the important parts of the turn are done.
Yeah, it turned around very quickly. We had Chansu with an entire board of dragons, but thanks to Shinsuke's Ysera awakens and spells and everything, he was able to clear it. But here comes the Reckless Apprentice. Just again with the board clear.
Ansu playing very patiently, still looking for that Magister Dawn Grasp. It's so painful to have to part with one of these apprentices before he actually gets the hero power to a decent damage total, because it really hurts his long-term burst. But he is just kind of hoping now to fatigue Shinsuke. Down to 5 cards in deck. No Kazaka-san yet. This is still very doable for Chonsu. If he wants, he can even trade back the Drakefire into the deck next turn and then draw it with the Deepwater Evoker, so he still gets the guaranteed 10 armor. Lots of stall potential still. So Shinsuke really needs to turn up the gas here. Hale is burst, but all these spells are so expensive in hand. Eh?
I believe in Draconid operative. Oh. Well,
Parrot can recast Nightmare because Nightmare costs 10. That's hilarious. Probably not worth it though. And again, which of these could do anything? Or Dancer gives him another coin, right? Which goes with that works. So 7-5 into 1-5, 3-4 into 3-5, Brass Wing, honorable kills 2 things. Play Laughing Sister.
Is there trouble?
Not as good as it's gonna get. Has to be a big turn from Chonsu, either clearing the board, which can't necessarily do, or just getting enough stats in the way that the Hale doesn't deal too much damage. Because as we're looking at it, next turn, Hale, Mailbox Dancer, Coin, Dream, that's 12 points of burst, and there can also be Nightmare played. So Shinsuke has a lethal setup.
yeah, and Chansu here trying to figure out his options, and in case that happens, he knows that there are some dream cards in hand that could potentially set up lethal against him.
Right? Gain the 10 armor from that amulet that he traded back. Prentice just to get some board presence. It's really not great, but he has to.
You can't stop this snowstorm.
Okay, let's count the damage up. If you go Hale, dream back the 3-5, play a Nightmare. Oh gosh, my brain's not working fast enough for this. So sorry, but it's a lot of spells to be played. And I feel like it's time to cash in the Hale. There's also an ice barrier that I think Shinsuke knows for sure is up there, so very unlikely that this is the...
And just continuing to develop the board with some dragons constantly threatening that control.
Let's see what side of the bird I woke up on.
Make dragons. Using the Brasswing AoE nicely here. Su needs a miracle. That
Oh,
and
yes.
a miracle. A replay. Potentially Drake Fire Amulet. Could get some rushes.
You wish to match wits with me?
So late though. How much damage has he missed just by Dawngrasp being so late? And ping the 7-2. And pray he's alive. If he wants to be a bit more resilient to Hala, he can also play Mailbox Dancer and then coin out the ping instead. Just have a little bit more stats.
True. Now his goal is just to really stay alive against all those
11.
minions.
So 13 on board. Hala can be played with 4 spells, which is 16 damage. And there's 17 health and minions in the way, so this is definitely not lethal. Chonsu can still get there? Maybe? Problem is, he doesn't have a way of dealing with this board, right? Oh, wait. Yeah, he can dream that back. It's lethal if you put in...
Nightmare dragon.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I cannot count at this point. My brain is not working anymore. The composting actually is playable, right? Exactly.
Yeah, just for that.
Oh no, sorry, 1 mana off. Yeah. Okay. Because you absolutely don't play composting unless it's lethal. Because that would fatigue him to infinity. So. And now, oh wow, spammy. 2, 3, 4 damage on the Twilight Drake. You can just spammy and then smothering Starfish, right?
If my calculations are correct.
No, that would leave the Nether Drake alive. It's so annoying because the Starfish makes some of these dragons bigger, so he absolutely cannot play that first. If you spammy first, then everything that's left on board is just the Nether Drake and the Twilight Drake.
Calculations are correct.
And if you silence the Nether Drake, then it removes the Nightmare Aura from it, so it's actually still alive.
We're putting him spot here, but still opting for the spammy first.
Yeah, this is fine.
It is. Next
Yeah.
move will be
Just Water Elemental, coin, ping, the Twilight Drake, sure. Yeah, and that's just it. I think Oka Shinsuke fatigues unless his last card is exactly Kazaka-san. And it's not.
oh. It's a taunt. No. And he.
Wow. Crazy. Chonsu outlasted every last dragon there, and that was, what was it, turn 4, turn 5 Prester? Early. Definitely early. Chonsu was very, very patient there, even though his Dawngrasp was towards the bottom of the deck. I think it's fair to say that Oka Shinsuke was punished for some of the careless mistakes in the middle there. Overdrawing 2 extra cards, overdrawing a Ysera. 2 of those dragons were probably inconsequential in the long run, but it just goes to show that Prester Druid, like, if you don't use every last bit of your value, you're often reliant on finding Kazaka-san, and sometimes the deck just does not give it you.
Yeah, it's pretty good to. It's pretty interesting in terms of gameplay-wise to watch Chonsu just fighting wave after wave of dragons and getting some dragons out on his own, and finally the rune and Dawngrasp working in his favor a bit. being able to outlast all of Okashinsky's dragon, putting him into fatigue for that win.
And we are all the way down to game 5 again, Amy. My goodness, our players are really not giving each other a break here, and they really want to make sure that they have every last percentage to get those points here. And the painful thing is, even after all these grueling series, whoever loses this one walks away with 0 points this week. It just doesn't matter the game wins if you can't convert that into an ultimate match victory. And whoever wins here still has their work cut out for them, because they're still going to face Lloyd Gruzine for the chance to play on Sunday. So much at stake here, and it's gonna come down to one more try on the Prester Druid for Okashinsky versus the Shaman from Chonsu, isn't it?
The mage from Chonsu.
Wait, he just won with Mage.
Oh no. Oops.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we have a slight fickle error here. Okay, going nuts. He did just win with Mage, right? What's happening?
Alright, so Shaman.
Okay, Shaman. I'm not nuts. Oh, I'm really having an existential crisis here, Amy. I'm sorry.
It's okay, we all love the mage and its shenanigans, but listen, Glub the Gulper was pretty good before. It might be doing Chonsu a favor again, but we shall see.
I see you've brought guests.
Okay, so we've seen this matchup a fair amount throughout the weekend already, and I've been vocal that I feel Prester's in the lead as long as they are very careful to not overextend on board to the point where the Snowfall Guardian completely locks them out and skips their turn. Especially when they start with the Starfish in the opener. That's actually decent for Okashinsky, right? Knowing that you have that before the deck is converted into dragons means that you have a check to the Snowfall Guardian play that Chonsu's very likely to go for later on. Problem for Okashinsky is he doesn't have the guaranteed Prestor yet, so he's actually gonna Finley here and put the Starfishes back in the deck, it looks like, to have a better shot at finding Lady Prestor.
Yeah, and with Prester in hand, if he ends up drawing the Starfish, we also get the dragons with their full stats, but we shall see how the draw goes.
Ugh, not great.
Not super good.
I guess he just plays like aggro druid for now, right? The Druid of the Reef for taunt, followed up by Claw Fury Adept. It's actually a lot of damage over a couple of turns. I do like the Bolner play from Chonsu. Obviously not expecting it to get value, but just to stem the bleeding a little bit. As that is a must-kill minion from Okashinsky's perspective, I would say.
For sure, and he can't really play the Amalgam since he doesn't really have any minions on board to get the value off of that at all.
I mean, he could play it for no battlecry value, but I actually do think the Bolner is just better on board as well because it challenges the Bubbler, whereas the Amalgam dies to Bubbler value trade if Claw Fury Adept were to be played. Double Claw Fury for Okashinsky. Of course, only one of them playable this turn, but this is looking like a very real aggro druid side game plan for Okashinsky at the moment.
Yeah, if you can't have your dragons earlier on, just go super aggro.
Just annoying that the Bubbler cannot trade into Bolner safely here, so he has to sink 2 minions in here. One fish, Amalgam. Don't think he can afford to coin. He has to save coin for Guardian, doesn't he? Okay, but he can take Razor Jaw and play it here. Is it worth it to kill a 1-2? Maybe not, maybe not.
There is bigger Murlocs / fish to fry.
True.
Oh. Is he gonna come down with another Claw Fury? Yep. A lot of damage.
It's just aggro druid.
Like how
This druid is a real thing. I lost to it on ladder, and sometimes, honestly, when I get these games as Prestor, I feel like I wish I'd just been playing Beast Druid instead, where you have actual win conditions that aren't Prestor, just playing the Naga that gives your other minions +1/+2 if you played a nature spell. That's very good.
So many choices.
Okay, Wind Show to his hand. Looking for another answer.
I think Macaw would be ideal for Chonsu here because he technically does have the answer for next turn, right? It's Coin Snowfall. The problem is what's the turn after that? And if he cannot chain the freezes, he's still in a bit of trouble. I don't see any downside to being Cookie this turn, though. Okay, composting would be great for Okashinsuke here. Jerry Rig is finally a way to get Prestor, but it's still a turn 7 Prestor at this rate, right? Not ideal.
Scrappy with scraps.
Sadly, I think Okashinsuke has to start trading now to not be so weak to Snowfall Guardian.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, again, Chonsu can just point that out on his turn 6 and have Okashinsuke have to deal with that, especially since he's used up his Claw Fury for those minion buffs to take down minions.
Time goes short.
So 2-3 and Finley into Cookie, Bubbler into 3-2. Maybe don't even play the Peasant if he expects Snowfall Guardian, but if it's not there, obviously the Peasant is a bit too good to pass up. Gonna get the bad news though.
Uh-oh.
Oh, it's not Snowfall this turn. Because Chonsu really wants to deny the Peasant draw. Okay.
As far as to rushing it,
This works out nicely for Okashinsuke though because he's not faced with a huge threat on the other side and can freely draw his Prestor. Jerry Rig to get the other Tooth Mine. And then turn 7 store better late than never, I guess.
two options with mana. Just be carefully considering his option here. Figuring out what would be the best play. Also counting ahead of in case Chonsu plays that Snowfall Guardian, if he wants to make them wider board. That would be like against it. Alright.
I think he was pretty torn between Jerry Rig and low cost. Because that one potentially gets it. Oh. Fact that was the threat of Mutanus was also playing into his decision to not play Jerry Rig this turn, be as safe as possible, but Prestor gets munched up, so now Shinsuke's win condition is evaporated. Is a deck full of tiny minions that are very weak to Snowfall Guardian.
He does not want to see those tiny minions at all.
You gotta be scrappy with
Sean,
scraps.
Oh no.
To feel it. At this point, you'd have to imagine. The glove. There's nothing Okashinsuke can do about it, right? There is no effect without Pressor that allows Okashinsuke to kill the 3-5 without first going through all the 2s. And now Chansu kind of bobbing his head around listening to music, jamming out because he knows he has this one in the bag.
Yeah. Oh, these rush minions go into the taunts. Glug will get popped up, and then we have to deal with the Murloc with 10 damage. And of course,
Desperate enough that
threat of Snowfall Guardian.
Right. It's desperate enough that Okashinsuke goes for a beast discover here. I don't know what beast could have really helped him, but something surely higher cost than what was offered to him. This is composting now. Oh, okay, he took Starfish to be better against Glug. Sure. Make the mutinous smaller. It's something, but it's something that is weak to Snowfall Guardian.
Alright, Chansu just healing a bit.
The fact that he's not playing Snowfall here means he's still respecting the second Starfish. Like, the one way Chansu could possibly lose from this instance is if he forgets that he's at 13 and Okashinsuke still has some damage on board, right? Even though it's really weak minions. If Chansu were to just freeze that and go all face and Okashinsuke top deck the other Starfish, that was potential disaster here. So Chansu's just playing as safe as possible.
Goodbye.
Oil Fang Constrictor. I haven't seen that card in so long. Kinda cool.
Oh. Go for a bit of armor and card draw.
Draw for what?
Hey.
You may ask. Nothing relevant, I say. Oh man, Okashinsuke throws it down and Chansu with a huge smile on his face lives to see another day. He'll be moving on to the decider match now between him and Zloy Gruzin.
Yeah, that's right. That was 5 games this match, and I can't wait to see what the outcome will be against Gruzin. Chansu kind of slowly climbing out of that elimination bracket.
Yeah, looked on form there. I think he spotted some plays that were also just very calculated. Just, for example, choosing that Ysera instead of the Deathwing from the Amulet in Game 4 to make sure he was not as weak to Dream as he would have been otherwise. And then this Mutinous, obviously very fortunate, but it's just rare that we even see the outcome of Mutinous having the possibility to eat her, because so often Pressor comes down ages before Mutinous is playable. But Chansu found the line at this point and just made sure he was never dead to Starfish, get too carried away, and takes a well-deserved victory. I think Okashinsuke, fair to say, it was a bit sloppy on the Pressor Druid at several points here, but he can of course come back next week with another shot. For now though, we are going to be handing it off to Sottle and Raven to take us through the next few matches. Zloy Gruzin and Chansu, who is going to take that second slot. Amy, any last thoughts before we sign off for the day?
Oh, I am just excited to see. I know it's super kind of random, but I really enjoyed the Expel Mage. Then again, the Celestial Druid, of course, is always fun in terms of the dragons, the discovery. I can't wait to see what's next and what will be in store for Sunday.
Yeah, that's right. Very soon we'll know our full suite of players joining us through on Sunday for the Fults of 5 points. Shortly after this, we'll have Chonsu versus Loy Gruzin, and then Group D's complete pan-outs. We're just going to go to a quick break. Don't go anywhere. Right after this, the continuation of Day 2, Week 1 of Hearthstone Grandmasters Last Call.
Welcome to Revendreth, in the darkest of seasons, where ruthless eyes gawk for horrific reasons.
Players get bitten by it in the past.
Can be too much of a good thing sometimes, but we are going to see Loy Gruzin obviously just get hold of that Cold Tooth Mine, go into grabbing Presta, so that job is done for now. Just has to get there in a safe manner. Chonsu, again, we see this play quite often now, right? The coin command into Wild Paw, just to get that instant board presence and then back it up with the Stags. It's looking pretty strong indeed. But Aquatic Form for Loy Gruzin, definitely going for the Guff and missing.
Yeah, no Park Panther in Loy Gruzin's version of the deck, which means that was never going to be an out in that situation, but obviously Park Panther would have cleaned up the situation quite nicely as well if that was found off the dredge.
Let's get another Aquatic Form for next turn as well, which he can choose to play before Presta if he wants to, or after. Again, just many decisions to be made with this deck when you're hitting this kind of turn and how you manage your card drawing itself. Chonsu just going to keep on going with the Stags.
And this is a really big deal as well. Prestor and a head on board is very, very nice here. This is Chonsu with his curve of, coin 5/4s into the Stags. Would have hoped to be ahead in this position, but he is going to have to spend one turn at least just being a little bit reactive to the Prestor board state. But the Piranhas are doing a pretty good job of cleaning it up straight away.
Yeah, absolutely. A surprising amount of damage come out from that play, right? Just playing the 3 Piranhas, especially if you have a minion on board to trade as well. There is still the Frostbite too, so Chonsu could at least give Loy Gruzin a bit of a headache if he wants to Frostbite kill something this turn, which I would not hate, honestly.
Yeah, slightly annoying break points though. You would like to use the Frostbite to hit the Prestor, because that's the one that none of your minions can value trade over. But by doing that, you don't actually get the honorable kill because none of the breakpoints really work out. So in this case, Chonsu just going to choose to isolate the Prestor instead and pick up that honorable kill on the Frostbite instead.
Yeah, and this is pretty solid as well. The Frostbite getting some work done, making Loy Gruzin pay a little bit extra for this cover.
Okay, picks up a vanilla fairy dragon. You love to see.
And the slight problem is, again, I was half like keeping an eye on this Deathwing just to see what it can achieve. But really, that Deathwing is almost unplayable at the moment, right? Because of the nature of composting, and the Starfish in this deck is absolutely huge. So I think that Deathwing is pretty much a dead draw for now.
Yeah, Starfish not only offensively, of course, you take your small dragons, you return them to their natural stats, you attack face, you win the game. But also a couple of specific matchup concerns in this particular matchup as well. Snowfall Guardian being released by the Smothering Starfish is quite often the game-winning play in this matchup. And secondly, this position you see right here, that Glug can be an absolute nightmare to deal with unless you have the Starfish to be able to remove the effect before you make any trades.
Yeah, interestingly enough though, even though it would sacrifice a Starfish, I wonder if, like, obviously we have to look at what the dragon's drawn, but suddenly just composting Deathwing might just
be good, isn't it?
Fine.
Alright, I think with Moonlit Guidance, yeah, you probably just have some nice work to be able to do here. You can just drop the composting as is. He's actually going to play it all and discard the Moonlit Guidance. Interesting. I was wondering if he was just going to go with the Starfish into the Moonlit and try and take back board that way, but I guess you see from the Chonsu reaction that that was probably the correct line.
I think so, because Moonlit, very, very strong. Like, you know, don't get me wrong, but with this play, he clears the board and still draws 3 cards. Like,
Yeah, fair.
okay, that's fine. He has to go back to the drawing board now, and this is the problem, or at least half a problem now. Suddenly, with that Starfish gone, it's a little bit less scary for Chonsu to try and build up the board. So now these Snowfall Guardian plus Macaws just have to get something done, because that's pretty much his whole hand. But there's Guff.
Those are such good cards alongside it, though. Yeah, I kind of like this. Yeah, once again, base it on the reaction of the opponent. I think specifically, Ysera is so powerful in this situation. Think about what you were just talking about, right? The Starfish is gone, so now Chonsu's like, you know what? Get some dragons, I don't care. I'm going to freeze your board, I'm going to play Macaws, I'm going to hit you in the face with a couple of 12-12s, and I'm going to win the game that way. But now, with these couple of dreams that are available for Zloy Gruzin, he can continue to delay that for as long as possible, keep the game in his pocket, and now has the nightmare damage to be able to end this game as well if needed.
Yeah, also, I think I'm just a bit of an idiot as well, because Cold Tooth was in the hand, right? So he could just draw Guff like he did. So that completely negates me suggesting it. I apologize, I'm blind. Too busy staring at all these crazy dragons. But yeah, this is just solid. And like you say, look at all the options Zloy Gruzin has now, and a 0-mana Ysera to just go all over again.
And a Hala as well.
Exactly, that's what I mean, right? It's just
so gross.
It's just ticking every single box right now. All that whilst having Guff active, which, again, the main value of Guff really in this deck is actually just the card draw, right? You draw extra cards per turn. Whoa, okay. Yeah, just get rid of that, thank you.
Kaboom.
Look how much stuff he can play, Sol.
Play this, play Dreamer, and then you can play Dream. Sends this back, that's 4 more damage. Nightmare is 4 more damage. Nightmare is 4 more damage. Awakens will kill the Hela.
Wait, you can Nightmare the Hela, right?
Yeah, this was just lethal, wasn't it? If you just Nightmare the Hela and end your turn on Awaken.
Oh, so is this. Never mind.
Oh, is this?
Yeah, no,
yeah, fair enough.
Again, forgot about the brass wing. But yeah, basically, Zloy Gruzin was very much winning that game. There were many ways to go about it. He could have, of course, Nightmared the Hala and then kept going, and then suddenly the damage goes through. Anyway, either way, Zloy Gruzin bags the win in a very strong play, actually. I think the Deathwing play felt scary initially, but when you actually looked at it, was just like, hang on a minute, this kills everything, draws 3 cards. I'm probably going to be okay from there.
Yeah, and there was a couple of turns. So it was this turn and the turn before from Chonsu as well, where he chose to under-trade and go face, be aggressive with the Piranha attacks, keep the Piranhas on board, leaving up minions on the other side. That ended up being, quote, punished by the combination of the Composting and the Deathwing on the other side. But it did need to be a very specific combination of those 2 kind of cards, right? Composting in particular, but then also something that would enable a massive board clear, right? If it was Composting plus Brass Wing, maybe that could have been powerful. Composting plus Primordial Drake, maybe that could have been powerful. It just so ended up being the most powerful thing possible with the Deathwing as well, throwing it out. So I don't necessarily blame Chonsu for the way it was played. But certainly, you know, decisions contributed to the outcome of the game, but that doesn't necessarily, it's not indicative of them being right or wrong in some situations.
Yeah, and we see now Chonsu jumping over to his mage, so he's actually gone 1, 2, 3 in terms of his decks right now, changing with every game. And Zloy Gruzin is going to be on his Shaman Sottle, an interesting list. We've seen a lot of the sort of mid-range, and this is basically the same, but there is the Renethil in there, and the big gains are the damage spells that you see from Lightning Bolt, as well as the Bioluminescence inclusion, and those Farsights as well. And my simple question, Sol, is I think we've both played a good amount of this style of Shaman, but do you think that's worth it for this deck?
Personally, no. The stats did report that Shaman was doing well in the Masters Tour when compared from 30 cards to 40 cards. But from my experience, it's not been something that I've particularly vibed with, adding the Renathal to, you know, mid-rangey value-based Shamans, Murloc Shamans, all of those kind of things. But speaking of Murlocs, though, I don't know how you can say there are big gains in this deck and not mention Clownfish. Clownfish has all the big gains in this deck. Look at that.
Very, very true. The main thing I'm hoping for this deck, though, from Zoygrusin is we see something beat the 33 damage Frostbite, which is where I'm hoping for.
Seems unlikely.
It does,
we'll wait and
but
see.
Still.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, Bran is in there. If you didn't follow us yesterday, there was a game where, was it Habu Gabu, got 2 copies of Bioluminescence from 2 school teachers, and then had Bran Bioluminescence on both of the Nagalings, so he 4-time Bioluminescenced his entire board and was able to do 33 damage with a single Frostbite, which did not win the game.
No, unfortunately not, just because it would have been cool, but it was still very, very impressive.
Yes.
Here, though, as we look at the Big Mage versus Zoygrusin's Shaman, tons of early board, and indeed, Clownfish with now Flurgle and a choice of Murlocs to follow up with.
Не, Паш. И камер там нету. Мне это видео уже сколько там просмотров? Около 1000 просмотров, блядь. Я не знаю даже номера. Там, скорее всего, просто проезжали вот этот мимо и увидели то, что лежит.
Ромашка. Как это возможно? Твои тренировки были не напрасны.
Прости, Хлюп, я работаю.
Ее правлению настал конец. Королева падет.